Hi, I'm Tim Anderson with C&S Companies within our construction division here at C&S. Today we brought in Shawnee Davis from Luminary Electric to have a conversation about partnerships. Shawnee, thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
Shawnee Davis, President and CEO of Luminary Electric.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us a little bit about yourself, your company, and how you got started in the electrical business.
So I have, I'm a 16-year veteran of the IBEW. Went through the apprenticeship program there. And, I've worked for a lot of companies in the area. I did a little traveling to Buffalo, Massachusetts, DC, some of everywhere, Poughkeepsie, working on large projects. And then I decided to come back home, sit for my master's license, and actually obtain my master's license. And kind of the natural progression after that is like, all right, it's time to, put on your big girl shoes. And so the rest is history. And I started Luminary Electrical, and it's been a wild ride, to say the least.
And we actually met at another partner's office opening, right? And we had a meeting with IBEW here just before that. And, we were talking to them about good partners and who to work with, and they had mentioned you.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah. So when we met, it kind of worked out perfectly, and we've worked on a few projects together.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Lessons learned with who to work with and who to work for, and things that we are both better after. So it's been a good partnership.
I agree. It's been great. You guys, I was just talking to a group of individuals about the contractors that I've worked for, and I definitely mentioned you guys. I'm like, listen, I would have no start without the help of C&S and them being so gracious to work with me in where I was and kind of grow with me. So I do appreciate you guys.
Well, we appreciate you too. Thank you. So what type of barriers did you run into when starting Luminary?
Well, the first barrier is anyone trying to take a chance on working with a brand new electrical contractor.
Yeah.
I like I said, I sat for my master's license, and that shows that I know electrical, but not necessarily business. And sometimes people look at that and they're like, well, we'll see how it goes.
Right.
We'll wait for you to get going and see how well you do, and then maybe we'll jump on that train. So that was definitely one of the toughest parts. Also, money. I started with with no money, and we've since grown, and it's been great. But that's definitely a huge barrier. Like I said, having great partnerships with companies that are willing to take that shot definitely made all of the difference, because we didn't really have anything.
Yeah.
And we're still, learning and growing. I've added staff, but even timing things like that is tough, and learning how to be a CEO and learning how to run a business. All of those are barriers that, we're breaking through.
So, Shawnee, we've worked on several projects together. Recently, we've worked on a healthcare project, and, what comes with projects are conflict a lot. And I think it's the partnerships that we've talked about that kind of pull us through. And we've had situations where maybe design was off, and we kind of had to work through some issues. What's important to you from a contractor's perspective, that partner that you're working with, when you run into an issue like that?
Yeah, just we were able to work through that, and I think it took a little bit of compromise on both of our ends,
Sure.
which I think that partnership part definitely helped. Anyone that's willing to compromise and not just like, this is a hard no and that's it, and willing to just even have that conversation. I have worked with companies that are just like, nah, you're just gonna have to deal with it. And it's like, man, I don't know. Like we talked about earlier, I've never had this experience before. So now trying to navigate that and feeling like I'm navigating it alone is not fun, right? So, having you guys there to work through some of the conflicts that we had was probably the best part.
And it goes back to having those more than just surface level relationships, right? Where you can call me or I can call you, and we can work through an issue that maybe others couldn't.
Yep. That's teamwork, right?
It is. And you and I have talked before, and I try to instill in our people here when working with a small business is kind of the point is to help you along.
Right.
And I think that's probably lost on a lot of other contractors, and maybe something that we could all do a little bit better with.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I mean, as a small business, we see it from a different perspective, and we're here, we're trying to help along the project and do as the customer is asking. But there are times when there are things that are asked of us that we simply have not experienced, we don't know. And having the support of the contractor that we're working for directly would really be helpful. And I hope that message gets to all of the GCs around here.
Yeah, I do too. So other projects that we've worked on in the past, where we gain a ton of benefit is working with somebody who is as flexible as you are, and we can do different things with. I think of a project where we had a contract with another contractor, electrical contractor that we were having some issues with, and I was able to call you, and you kind of came in and saved the day, and you were flexible in the way that you helped us through that.
I think we were both flexible on that one. Super flexible on that one together, which is great.
Yeah, and that's the type of thing that, when it's a mutually beneficial relationship, plus it's on a personal level, that's when things can really, really happen and you can get a lot done.
Yeah.
So what have been some of your biggest successes or achievements so far in your career?
The biggest achievement is, meeting President Biden and introducing him. That was a once-in-a-lifetime experience, right?
Yes.
I thought when I got the call to do it, and of course I said yes, because who would be crazy enough to say no? I thought, man, I don't know how this situation's going to turn out. I don't know how I'm going to do, but so the pressure was on to do well.
And that was the Micron deal.
That was a Micron, yeah, the Micron announcement. And, when we got there, I'm like, man, the Secret Service, they're going to be all over me. But, they did that whole background check before they even called me, right? So the Secret Service was actually really nice. They were talking to me. I'm thinking they're supposed to be straight ahead or, whatever, but they were great. They were encouraging me. They saw that I was nervous. They're like, nah, you'll be fine. You'll do great. And then when I got in the back, so in the back area, if you don't mind me telling just a short story.
No, not at all.
So there's 2 back rooms. There's one back room that has all the local and state politicians and, some of the big wigs around. And then there's another back room where it was like, this is the safest place on earth. Right. You know what I mean? There were military personnel everywhere just surrounding this one room. And in that room is there's Governor Hochul, there's Kristen Gillibrand, there's Sanjay, who is the CEO of Micron, there's Chuck Schumer, and then there's President Biden, and then me, right? Just in this room with this group of people. It took everything within me not to completely fangirl at that moment. Hey, can we all just come together for a selfie?
Yeah, that is pretty cool.
It was a great experience, but then being back there and talking with everyone was nice, encouraging. President Biden was awesome.
Yeah.
He was great. He really was. And then, so that was in October of 2022. And then in March of this year, there was an SBA Women's Business Summit at the White House. And so the president decided to go ahead and just tell my whole story in front of her. He gave me a minute of his speech. So wow. That was, man, and I didn't know about it. I didn't find out about it until the next day. Yeah,
that is pretty cool.
The Micron executive called me. He goes, hey, the president mentioned you in his speech yesterday. I'm like, so when someone says I mentioned you, it's like they said your name.
Right.
And then they send me this link, and I am screaming, okay, while I'm watching it. I mean, he even quoted me, which was, man, out of this world. So that's definitely the biggest achievement. My dad goes, "What did you say to him?"
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah, so definitely the greatest achievement. And then really just hitting the 1 year milestone, and we're coming up on 2 years next month.
Done a lot in 2 years.
It's a whole lot in 2 years, man.
How about some of the difficulties? What about lessons and maybe things you would have done differently?
Oh man, done differently. I don't think I would change a thing.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think everything that I've gone through to this point has been an opportunity to learn a lesson. Yeah. So I can't even say that there's anything I would do differently. One of the things that I learned that I think is most important right now is building relationships and cultivating relationships. Mm-hmm. People call it networking. I don't call it networking. I call it cultivating relationships, because networking is, here's my card, call me one day, never do, that's it, right? I wanna build a relationship with someone where I'm not even handing you my business card. We are having a conversation, and our conversation is good enough to where we're like, let's go to lunch, and then let's continue. Right. And I think it's been something that I've done throughout my career. Even when I was an apprentice, making sure that, I'm talking to guys on job sites and that kind of thing, and getting to know the owners, so that now, being in the business, I don't have a problem with making a phone call to one of those contractors and saying, hey, look, I'm in the business for myself now. What do you think?
Yeah. It makes a big difference.
It
helps
does.
a lot.
It does, for sure.
How about, what would you want maybe other startups or other companies to know, lessons learned?
So this is not for the faint of heart, okay? Yeah. It is just a quick kind of sidebar. I just went through a whole IT, migration from how I started to getting everything kind of cinched together. That is something that I never would have even considered or thought to be a challenge.
Sure.
Huge, really big, right? So kind of try to think about the things that other larger businesses do so well that you may not consider when even thinking about starting a business, I think is probably one of the most encouraging things. Like, really look at, the processes and the systems that other companies like yours already have in place, and try to gain as much information from those business owners as possible.
And it goes back to networking and real relationships, right? Having somebody you could call and come over to the office and see how we're doing things, and maybe how you could implement something like that yourself.
That's exactly.
When it comes to partnerships, what qualities do you seek in a partner, and what's important to you when you're working with somebody?
Reputation, for sure, right? You want to work with a reputable company, and at the end of the day, we're all here to make money, right? Yeah. So I need to work with a partner that is actually going to pay me, to do the work, and not wait for 6 months, because how can I possibly afford to do that as a small business?
Right.
So there's that. There's, a company that has a great reputation, in the local area, that their reputation, if it's bad, doesn't kind of spill off on you as a subcontractor in there. Yeah. You know what I mean? That's the main thing. And then, how well do they work with their subcontractors? What kind of things do they assist with? There's some due diligence in there that takes place.
And I would say from the GC perspective, from the contractor perspective, it's really, when the partnership is important, then you end up being flexible, right? And that starts at the top, and that starts with, working with people like yourself to make terms that are outside of our norms, right? Whether it's payment terms or scheduling terms or paperwork or whatever it might be. And, that's something that it's been important to us, and I think has worked well with our relationship together.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the willingness to share information as well, to kind of help facilitate, moving forward, not just on projects, but just moving forward as a company. Just, a partner that's willing to say, hey, okay, I see you have this. How about you try this and maybe see how that works?
Right.
I love that. I love that kind of feedback because it only makes me better.
Right.
I
guess it's the difference between like a transactional relationship and a real partnership.
I agree with that.
That's a difference in looking at it, I suppose.
Yeah.
What kind of trends are you following that will impact your business, and what sorts of things are you looking at in the future?
So the New York State electrification is definitely something I am, trying to remain tapped in on. There's a conference happening in Albany, so I'm definitely gonna go to that and try to soak up as much information and kind of put myself out there as well. Charging stations are, that's something that's growing. Yeah. Solar is continuing to kind of grow around this area as well. So definitely trying to stay in tune with what's happening, and all of the new technology. Is something that we're definitely following right now. And what's new? Federal government space.
Tell me more about that.
Learning.
Yeah.
Learning, but so we've applied for women. Small woman-owned business, and all of the federal certifications, so that we can kind of start working in that space. I'm not sure how that's going to work out yet, but we're working toward it, and we know that there's a certification process that helps small businesses kind of grow and scale, and it's it's for a short period of time, so we don't want to jump into it until we're ready to utilize all, 6 years or whatever it is for it. So
if you ever need a partner on that, let me know.
Yeah. All right. See, we just made a connection. That just happened.
How about industry organizations? What are you involved with? What's important to you, and what should others, maybe think about?
So I am very passionate about a couple of things. Number one, my community. I grew up on the south and east sides of Syracuse. The south side, particularly one of the poorer sides of the town, and so I'm working right now with the Community Foundation, and what they do is facilitate funding for different programs that exist to help our local neighborhoods. So I'm on the board for that. It's called the Black Equity and Excellence Fund. So I'm on the board for that. The other thing I'm really passionate about is making sure that people are paid a livable wage. And so I'm a part of the National Electrical Contractors Association. I'm on the board for that as well. And I'm always asked to go to different school districts and speak to kids.
Yeah.
I'm just really passionate about my community, and so I rarely ever say no to an opportunity to go and speak to kids. I don't even, people are like, well, how much do you charge? I'm like, this is my contribution to my community, so I don't even charge for things like that, because I think these kids need to see what's available to them.
Absolutely.
How far they can take
especially in the trades, because there's a lot of opportunity that maybe a lot of people don't know about.
Yeah. I really wish that more of the tradespeople came to our local schools and talk to us. I probably would have gotten in this, a lot sooner than I did. But I'm glad that I did when I did, and now it's I've taken it as my responsibility to make sure that these kids see me.
Yeah, well, we do need more people doing that, and it seems like the pendulum is swinging a little bit more towards the trades.
Yeah, I see it happening.
Yeah,
which is interesting to see, because I remember being in school and it was all about college.
Me too.
Yeah, we're probably around the same age. Maybe. Yeah.
So educating the youth on the opportunities, and kind of the workforce ties into that, and the availability of labor. What kind of challenges does that present to you? I'm sure similar to the rest of the industry, but what are you doing, in light of that?
Yeah, if we were kind of just talking about that, about even the unions having a hard time, manning projects, and it's been a challenge. It's been a challenge with how much work we are comfortable bidding, and how much work we're comfortable taking on, and one of the things outside of just having the folks on the ground and on projects, the inner office kind of staff that we need. So to work around that, we've been investing in the education of some of the workforce that are interested in, learning things like estimating and project management. And so we've been investing in education and kind of working from within to kind of, but in terms of electricians, that's it, just recruiting on my own end and saying, hey, this is a great opportunity, come on over. But even then, even if we start now, we still have some time to get them to the point where, they're journey persons. So
yeah, we do. It's like it's almost the opposite of what we've been experiencing for the last however many decades. It's like the work is there now. It's just, are we going to all be able to do it?
Right.
And that's going to be the challenge that I think we can only do with partnerships.
Yeah.
I
agree. People say it's a good problem to have. Right now, it's a good problem to have, but I think soon it's going to be a bad problem to have.
Yeah. No, I would agree with you. It's definitely on the forefront of our, challenges list, and we'll have to see how it goes.
Yeah. I mean, we're all going to have to bring our heads together to make this happen, though, honestly.
And that's right. And that's kind of what we've been doing in the industry lately, is more meetings with, maybe people in the past we would have seen as competitors, and coming together and saying, this is something we're going to have to figure out together.
Yeah.
And because going against each other, and this isn't going to work.
So that. And honestly, with the work that we have coming, everyone is going to have an opportunity to make money, right?
Yeah.
And build their company. So it's better to work together.
It sure is. A lot more fun.
It is. A lot less stress, too.
Yeah. So when you're recruiting, training, how do you motivate your team? Are they completely bought into your vision? Is that the key?
Yeah, I mean, right now, right, that's great because we're still small, and I think that the people that work for me, I'm still accessible right now. I don't know how you do it with the staff that you have. I don't know how you do it, but I'm still fairly accessible, so everyone's still amped and excited. They'll see me on a job site and they're like, yes, let's do it.
Yeah.
But I think, as you grow, you don't have the ability to touch everybody as much as I am right now.
Right.
So right now, yes, everyone's bought into it. And I think keeping that culture alive even as we grow is gonna be a little bit of a challenge. But I think other folks have been able to do it.
Yeah.
And I'll take a page from their blueprint.
Yeah. No, it definitely is. It's key, and it's maintaining the way that you see it now, the way that your vision is now, and maintain as you grow. And I suppose it's every decision that you make. When you keep that vision in mind, then you'll always do the right thing, and you'll maintain that.
Good. And you keep happy workers.
Yeah. So what's next? What's next for Luminary? What's next for you personally?
Next for Luminary is to continue to grow, right? To continue to expand and make sure that we're moving in the right directions, making the right partnerships, and growing, taking on the right projects for us as well. For me, I'm trying to make sure that I'm able to now kind of separate myself a little bit. So there's Luminary and then there's Shawnee. Right now it's like Luminary, Shawnee.
Right.
And I think in order for Luminary to grow as a standalone company, it's got to be Luminary and then it's got to be Shawnee. Right. And so I'm working on that separation. We'll see how that goes. But just working on a personal brand side of things and a business brand.
Excellent. Yeah, that'll probably be good for your stress and mental health in the long run too.
Yeah, there's a lot of pressure. You know what I mean? There's a lot of pressure, and if we're separated, then I can kind of focus on what's happening here and make sure that Luminary is running efficiently on its own. So
excellent. Shawnee, thank you very much for coming in today. I know for sure we'll continue to have success as partnership, and look forward to many more conversations and projects together.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me. I really enjoyed this.
Thank you.